Hey guys, so today we're looking at a lot. We're looking at droughts, floods, and storms. So let's get started here. So a drought is when an area experiences a long period of scarce rainfall. A condition known as a drought exists. This reduces the supplies of groundwater and surface water in an area. So it can almost be summed up as when an area has gone a long time without rain or without precipitation in general. That's generally what causes a drought. They're usually caused by a dry weather system that remains over an area for a period of time. Droughts can cause damage to crops and famine in the affected area. Recent advances have made it possible for scientists to use weather and soil to predict possible drought areas. Okay, because again, the main focus or the main reason that this is bad, well, number one, you need water for everyday life, and you need water to survive, but also you need water to grow crops. That's why droughts can be particularly harmful or bad for farmers and for people who grow crops and for just living in general, because again, without the fruits and vegetables, you're not able to survive, right? We need food to live. Floods. Floods occur when the volume of water in a body of water increases so much that the body of water overflows its banks. A flash flood is a sudden violent flood that occurs within a few hours or even minutes of a storm. Most flash floods are due to large amounts of rain. With the advances in technology, floods can be predicted using radars. So nowadays, a lot of us have the flash flood warnings. You get these little loud alarms that'll come to your phone whenever there is a flash flood predicted in your particular area, which is very helpful. So controlling floods. Floods may be controlled in many ways by a dam, which is a barrier across a river that may redirect the flow of a river to other channels. It can also be used to store water in an artificial lake. Sediments are a natural way to control floods. They are particles of rock and soil that are picked up and carried along by forces such as flowing water. As the river overflows, it slows down, depositing its heavier sediments alongside the river channel. Over time, these deposits build up into long ridges called levees. Levees that form naturally can help keep the river inside its banks. All right, so now let's look at storms here. Storms, or a storm, is a violent disturbance in the atmosphere. There are several types of storms, which include thunderstorms, tornadoes, hurricanes, and winter storms. So thunderstorms. A thunderstorm is a small storm often accompanied by heavy precipitation. They form in large cumulonimbus clouds that are known as thunderheads. Remember, we talked about those. We looked at those, the top of them being anvils. When formed on hot, humid afternoons, they usually form on hot, humid afternoons, excuse me. They occur in the spring or summer in southern states and in the western plains. Thunderstorms are usually accompanied by lightning and thunder. Lightning is a sudden spark or electrical discharge jump between parts of a cloud. This electricity comes from the positive and negative charges that build up during a thunderstorm. Thunder comes from the rapidly heated air that expands suddenly and explodes. Thunder is the sound that you hear when this happens. The heated air comes from lightning bolts, right? So lightning causes the thunder. So that's a cause and effect relationship there. Thunderstorm safety and damage. Damage can often result in thunderstorms, or thunderstorms can cause damage. Lightning can cause severe damage to anything that it touches. Safety is important during a thunderstorm. Stay indoors and avoid items that conduct electricity and bodies of water. Tornadoes. A tornado is a rapidly whirling funnel-shaped cloud that reaches down from a storm cloud to touch Earth, usually very brief and only lasts about 15 minutes or less. Now, they can last longer, but that's just typically. They form from cumulonimbus clouds. The same clouds that bring thunderstorms occur in spring and summer, just like thunderstorms in the afternoon when the ground is warm. The U.S. has more than 800 tornadoes a year, which mostly occur in the Great Plains along what is known as Tornado Alley. However, they can and do occur all over the United States. So this is Tornado Alley. These states here that are highlighted with the yellow there, those are the ones that make up Tornado Alley. Now, you notice North Carolina is not highlighted there. That doesn't mean we don't have tornadoes. As I said in the previous slide, it just means we're not a part of Tornado Alley. Now, they are categorized by an EF scale, otherwise known as an enhanced Fujita scale, and it's based on how fast the wind is, how fast the miles per hour is. Unfortunately, unlike a hurricane or tornado, we can't actually tell what category it's going to be until after it happens. And we'll talk more about that in class. Tornado safety and damage. The damage in a tornado comes from strong winds and flying debris. The funnel-shaped form easily picks up big items such as cars and trailers. The safest place to be during a tornado is in a storm shelter or a well-made building. Hurricanes. A tropical cyclone that has winds of 119 kilometers per hour or higher, forming the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans. When it is in the Pacific, its name is changed to a typhoon. Occur in warm oceans as a low pressure area in the months of August, September, and October. Starts as a disturbance, becomes a tropical storm, and finally ends up as a hurricane. Hurricanes draw energy from the warm air on the ocean surface. The center of a hurricane is called an eye. They last longer than any other storm, and once it has made landfall, the energy of the storm decreases. It's measured using a Saffir-Simpson wind scale, and the categories are listed for you below, ranging from a category 1 to a category 5. In 1979, a 6-year rotating list of hurricane names was formed. So that's why when you look at the news and they give you a name for the hurricane, this is where they get those names from. So it's a 6-year rotating list, and we'll talk about this more during class. Hurricane safety and damage. Sometimes storm surges can occur, which is when a dome of water sweeps across the coast. Severe wind damage and flooding can occur. The safest place to be during a hurricane is indoors and away from windows. Now, floods, we've already kind of talked about this, but can be caused by the aftermath of a storm. Now, a winter storm. This refers to the snow that falls in winter all year round. Most precipitation forms in clouds as snow, but it only falls as snow if the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. The safest place in a snowstorm is some form of shelter from the wind. A severe storm characterized by low temperatures, strong winds, and heavy snow. By definition, the difference between a blizzard and a snowstorm is the strength of the wind. In the U.S., the National Weather Service defines a blizzard as sustained winds or frequent gusts reaching or exceeding 35 miles per hour, which lead to blowing snow and cause visibilities of 1/4 mile or less, lasting for at least 3 hours. Temperature is generally below 0 degrees Celsius when this happens. All right, guys, thanks for watching.